This is the Waterdrop X12-Alkaline Mineral pH plus Reverse Osmosis System. I have had this for a bit now, and a few people asked me about it, so here is my take. This is an under-sink reverse osmosis water filter meant for people who want drinking and cooking water that tastes cleaner than tap, and they want it fast. It is also for anyone who is tired of a big storage tank taking up the whole cabinet. I use it every day for filling bottles, making coffee, cooking pasta, rinsing rice, and topping off a pot without standing there waiting. The first thing I noticed in real use was the flow. I am used to filter faucets that feel like a slow drizzle. This one does not. The stream comes out strong and it fills a small cup in a few seconds. That sounds minor, but it changes how often I actually use filtered water. I stop thinking about it and I just use it because I am not waiting around. The basic idea is simple. It filters water on demand instead of storing it in a tank. It uses a very fine reverse osmosis membrane, and then it adds some minerals back in so the water does not taste flat. If you have ever tried reverse osmosis water that tastes kind of empty, this does not come across that way to me. My tap water has a noticeable chlorine smell. With this system, that smell is gone and the taste is cleaner. I noticed it right away in plain cold water, and I noticed it even more in coffee and tea. My coffee came out smoother and tea tasted less harsh. I'm going to talk about who I think this fits. If you live in a house where people are constantly filling bottles, making formula, cooking, or you just drink a lot of water, the speed matters. If you have a small kitchen cabinet and you hate giving up space to a tank, the tankless design matters. If you are renting and you cannot drill a hole for a faucet, you should think twice, because I did have to drill for the dedicated faucet. If you want something totally silent, this is not that either, because it uses an electric pump. On the build and how it feels, the main unit is a compact rectangular box that sits under the sink. It feels like a solid appliance, not a flimsy plastic jug. The hoses are color-coded, which helped me a lot during install. The faucet is modern looking with a little screen on it. I will be honest, I have warmer toned fixtures in my kitchen, and the chrome look stood out. It is not a functional problem, it just might not match every kitchen style. That faucet screen ended up being more useful than I expected. I can see filter life and a total dissolved solids reading in real time. I also use the measured dispense feature more than I thought I would. I set a volume, put a pot under it, and it runs while I do something else. That is helpful when I am cooking and my hands are busy. One thing I had to learn is the water hits hard at the start. If you put a small cup directly under it, you can get splashing. I angle the cup or start it with the cup slightly off to the side, then move it under once the flow settles. Now set up, because this is where a lot of people either love these systems or get frustrated. Installation was not a quick job for me. It was a real under-sink project. I drilled the countertop for the faucet, I tapped into the drain line for the waste water, and then I had to handle power. This unit needs an outlet under the sink that is always on. My outlet was tied to the garbage disposal switch, so it was not always on, and I had to fix that. If you are comfortable with basic plumbing work, you can do it. If not, it is the kind of install where paying a plumber is reasonable. Once it is installed, day-to-day use is easy. I just turn the faucet on and it runs. There is no tank to wait for and no guessing when it is ready. The system does automatic flushing sometimes and I can hear it. The pump makes a low hum while it is running. It is not loud, but you will notice it in a quiet kitchen. After a week, my brain kind of tuned it out. Maintenance has been straightforward so far. The filters are the twist type. I do not need tools. When I swapped a filter, the system automatically stopped water flow during the change, then I ran a flush afterward. That part felt well thought out. The one practical issue I ran into was availability. At one point, a replacement filter I wanted was temporarily out of stock. That is not a daily problem, but it is the kind of thing that can shut your system down if you wait until the last second. I plan to keep a spare on hand. I did some basic testing at home with a handheld total dissolved solids meter. Here is what I saw and what it means in real life. The number after filtration was low, then after the mineral stage it went up a bit. That is expected, because adding minerals raises total dissolved solids. Some people see that higher number and assume the filter is failing. In this case, it is not automatically a bad sign. It is counting minerals too. Also, I noticed the faucet reading and my handheld meter did not always match. They were in the same general direction, but not identical. I trust the taste and the certifications more than I trust one quick meter reading. On filtration and the stuff people worry about, reverse osmosis is used to reduce a lot of dissolved contaminants, and this system is tested against common standards for things like dissolved solids reduction and lead-free materials. I like seeing real certifications because it means someone actually tested it against a defined method. There is also a built-in ultraviolet light that turns on when water flows. I am not buying this mainly for ultraviolet because water moves quickly through a system like this and ultraviolet performance depends on contact time. I look at it as an extra layer that might help, not something I rely on as the main safety step. I also want to mention one technical concern I read about before I installed it, because I know some of you research this stuff deeply. There has been discussion online about trace antimony showing up in water from some reverse osmosis setups, potentially related to membrane support materials. The numbers I saw discussed were still below the Environmental Protection Agency limit, but above a stricter third-party guideline. Waterdrop has said trace amounts can come from materials and still remain under federal limits. For me, I am comfortable staying under the Environmental Protection Agency limit and relying on certified testing. But I understand if someone has a lower tolerance for any trace metals. If you are that person, the practical approach is to do periodic lab testing on your own water so you are not guessing. In real kitchen use, the biggest strength is speed and convenience. I fill bottles constantly, I cook with it, and I make coffee with it. Because it is fast, I actually use it more. The water taste is clean and does not have that flat reverse osmosis taste that I do not like. The cabinet space savings are real too. Not having a big tank under there gave me room back for normal kitchen storage. The limitations are also real. Installation takes time and you may need help. You need power under the sink always on. The faucet stream is strong and can splash if you are not careful. The modern faucet look might clash with some kitchens. The pump noise exists, even if it is mild. Overall, my experience has been that it does what I wanted from a tankless reverse osmosis system. It gives me clean tasting water quickly. It is easy to live with day to day, and maintenance has been simple. If you want something that installs with no drilling and no power, this is not the right style of system. If you want fast filtered water for a busy kitchen, it fits how I actually use my sink. I will share detailed information about the Waterdrop X12-Alkaline Mineral pH plus Reverse Osmosis System in the comments section. Everyone, thank you for watching.